What's going on, everybody? This is Eddie from the Too Heavy Wrestling Podcast, and we're counting down the 30 days till WrestleMania, and we are on day 10. We're going to be talking about the WrestleMania 1 main event featuring Mr. T and the immortal Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. Let's talk in terms of history. Now, Hulk Hogan just recently won the WWF title from the Iron Sheik, and it seems like Hulk Hogan is going to be the golden boy for the WWF for years to come, and is quite possibly the biggest box office attraction of all time in terms of professional wrestling. Now, of course, formidable opponent and the best heel to grace the WWF, in my opinion, Roddy Piper is on the prowl and sees the WWF title in Hulk Hogan, and this man thinks he cannot be beaten. Just in general and in life, he feels like he should be the person to dethrone Hulk Hogan and should be the golden boy for the WWF. Now, of course, with the Rock and Wrestling connection, people such as Cyndi Lauper were starting to cross over. It looked like Ozzy Osbourne was crossing over, and several other people as well. However, it seemed like Mr. T, being the biggest box office attraction in TV, ended up crossing over as well and joining forces with Hulk Hogan. However, Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, and Cowboy Bob Orton had other plans and challenged them to a tag team matchup at WrestleMania. Now, of course, Mr. T, with not very much experience, needed to train, and Hulk Hogan trained him so well and had him live the motto of eat your vitamins and say your prayers leading up to their WrestleMania 1 matchup. Now, of course, with this being WrestleMania 1, you needed something this big on the card. Now, of course, Roddy Piper thinks that Mr. T shouldn't have been in that matchup. And of course, leading up to WrestleMania 2, they actually had a little bit of a boxing matchup as well. But in terms of what the craft Vince McMahon was going for at the time, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T teaming up was such a big deal and such a big thing, and was one of the better ways of actually trying to grow the company. Having someone from TV like Mr. T coming into the WWF, having someone like Cyndi Lauper from just entertainment coming to the WWF, that's going to raise the stock of the WWF and make it more of a household name. And that's exactly what Vince McMahon accomplished with this matchup. Hulk Hogan was already such a big box office attraction, but pairing him with Mr. T made him a pop culture phenomenon. And WrestleMania 1 was such a big success and led up to nearing to WrestleMania 39 now. So you see how big of an impact that one matchup had, and had so many precautions, and just made WrestleMania what it is today. Now, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T ended up winning this matchup because of heel tactics by Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. And it seemed like the rivalry between Hulk and Roddy Piper would continue like this. It seemed like Hulk Hogan could not get a clean win over Roddy Piper, and that's exactly what he wanted. His ego was very inflated at that time, as he's admitted. Now, going into WCW, it seemed like Roddy Piper was the first person between the two to actually pick up a clean pinfall. Now, Hulk Hogan would end up doing this later down the line, but their rivalry was just so hot-headed and such a big attraction. Now, of course, the both of them ended up not wanting to get pinned in general in WWE, but in WCW, things changed. It seemed like they matured a little bit more, but the rivalry between them was one of the most heated rivalries of all time. Of course, the best of rivals comes between Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan, and one of the first big rivalries in WrestleMania history, the first big rivalry in WrestleMania history. And that's why we wanted to consider this one of the biggest matches, counting down 30 days till WrestleMania. Of course, with this being day 10, I want to know what you thought about WrestleMania 1 matchup between Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, and Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. But we'll catch you tomorrow for day 11.